Vestibular apparatus is a sensory organ for detecting sensation of equilibrium. It is encased in a system of bony tubes and chambers located in the petrous part of the temporal bone, which is called as bony labyrinth. Within this system are membranous tubes and chambers which are called as membranous labyrinth. The membranous labyrinth is the functional part of the vestibular apparatus, and it consists of three semicircular canals and the otolith organ, which are called as saccule and utricle. There are two sac-like structures or organs. This diagram showing vestibular apparatus which consists of semicircular canals which are they are represented in the three planes and they are 90 degrees to each other, and you have utricle and saccule. Semicircular canals. Semicircular canals are the tubular structures placed at right angles to each other. Because of this type of arrangement, semicircular canals represent three axes of rotation, that is vertical axis, anteroposterior and transverse axis. The three membranous canals are horizontal, that is lateral, superior or anterior, and inferior, which is posterior. They contain endolymph and are separated from bony canal by perilymph. Each canal begins as a dilation, that is, which is called as ampulla, and which containing projections which are called as ridges on its inner part. And they are called as crista ampullaris. Cristae are the receptors of the semicircular canals. And each crista consists of hair cells and substenticular cells, which are also called as supporting cells, surrounded by gelatinous partition that closes off the ampulla, and that gelatinous partition is called as cupula. The process of hair cells are embedded in the cupula, and the bases of hair cells are in close contact with the afferent fibers of the vestibular division of the vestibulocochlear nerve. So this diagram showing the crista, that is the receptors of semicircular canals. This is the diagram of transverse section of semicircular canals, and this is the crista. And in the crista you can see the hair cells which are embedded, in the cupula, and you can see the kinocilium and stercocelia which are embedded in the cupula in the endolymph. And these are the supporting cells to the hair cells, and you can see the afferents which are arising through the vestibular division of 8th nerve. Otolith organs, which are called as utricle and saccule. The otolith organ is formed by utricle and saccule. The utricle communicates with the saccule by means of ductus endolymphaticus. Both utricle and saccule contains a projecting ridge called as macula. Like it is very similar to the cristae, and they are receptors in the otolith organ. Like crista, macula is also found by hair cells and supporting cells which project into the firm gelatinous material which is called as cupula. A large non-motile hair cells called as kinocilium is located at one end of the hair cells. In the remaining hair cells, small cilia with progressive increase in the height are present, and they are called as stercocelia. Between the hair cells lie the fibers of origin of vestibular division of 8th nerve. In the saccule and utricle, the cupula contains mainly the chalky, that is calcium carbonate particles, which are called as otoliths or otoconia, and hence the name otolith organ. The hair cells plus gelatinous material containing calcium carbonate is called as otolith organ. When head is in the normal erect position, the macula of each utricle is in horizontal plane, whereas macula of each saccule in the vertical plane. So here you can see the otolith organ when standing in a resting position, macula they are placed vertically, and otolith organs they are placed horizontally. You can see the hair cells and the hair cells, the kinocilium or stercocelim being embedded into the otolith membrane. Here the structure of again the hair cells, that is otolith organ showing otolithic membrane, which is composed of gelatinous material containing calcium carbonate, and the hair cells being embedded into the otolith organ. Okay. And here you can see the hair cell. Each hair cell, they are made up of kinocilium, which are the tallest one, and the smaller one are called as stercocilia. Functions of vestibular apparatus. Vestibular apparatus plays an important role in postural activity. The otolith organ, saccule and utricle, is stimulated by gravity and semicircular canals activated by rotational movements. And it plays important role in the postural activity as it gives rise to afferent impulses which reflexly adapt the position of the trunk and limbs to that of the head, thus enable the erect position of the head and thus the normal posture of the head to be maintained. The information from the vestibular apparatus also reaches the cranial nerve nuclei, which supplies the eye muscles and the cerebral cortex. This helps in the recognition of the position and the movements of the head. As a result, the position of the eyes is held approximately constant, allowing visual fixation